It's always exciting buying a new car. I was excited when I was buying this one a few weeks back, but I didn't want to start recording the first video until I had a couple parts to repair it with. I have always wanted to own and drive a car like this, and I can't even believe to call it my own now. Say hello to the brand new to me 2015 Audi R8 V10. I was able to get in contact with the previous owner. Turns out this car was in a hit and run accident, but more on that later. It is currently freezing outside. So let's take the car into the garage and talk about why I bought this model specifically. The 2015 model is considered Gen 1.5. It was only made for 2 years. And the biggest difference between the old generation and the generation in between are the headlights and the transmission. Now, obviously, if you look at the car, there are no headlights on the car. But thankfully, we do have the headlights. For whatever reason, the insurance company took the headlights off, and we do have both of them. Man, look at these things. These things are beautiful. We actually drove out to New York 20 hours to pick up the car. I kid you not, solely for these headlights, because each headlight costs about $4,000 and you can't get them anywhere. Headlights, it's a cosmetic thing, but the transmission, that's a real upgrade. The Gen 1.5 got an upgraded dual clutch transmission, which was a big upgrade from the old R-tronic transmission that was clunky and slow. One of my buddies had that transmission, and yeah, I mean, the car doesn't drive the way it's supposed to drive. With the dual clutch transmission, this thing is a game changer. Inside, we have a full black interior, which in my opinion is the best interior. And this car came with a bunch of carbon bits everywhere. I mean, this car was the full carbon fiber package. So we got Bang & Olufsen sound system, carbon fiber everywhere you look. And honestly, Audi has done a really good job at keeping their interiors looking nice and modern. So for a car that's 10 years old, it still doesn't look that bad. But I didn't buy this car because of the interior. I bought it because of this. The 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V10 engine. What an iconic engine. From the factory, these cars are pushing 525 horsepower. Paired with an all-wheel drive powertrain and a dual clutch transmission, this car is gonna rip. Let's mention the elephant in the room. The garage is a mess, but we'll get it cleaned up. Wrecked cars have a lot of character, and they always have a story to tell. One of my favorite parts about rebuilding cars is figuring out what happened to get the car to end up looking like this. Now, one thing you'll notice on this car, the entire driver's side is missing. And the weird part is there isn't any real damage. The only damage is this small section in the door jamb right here. Audi R8s are built on an aluminum chassis, which makes them lighter and allows them to go faster. But when they get into an accident, that makes it harder to work on them. Clearly the damage was on the driver's side, and we can see that the weld where the actual structural frame and the skin come together, the weld has cracked, but there's no actual structural damage. This door jamb right here, yes, it is all aluminum, and what's hard about working with aluminum is that unlike steel where you can just bang it out, put some Bondo and call it a day, aluminum likes to rip, it doesn't stretch. So we're gonna have a specialist come out, bang this out, and it's gonna look better than new. The only part that's got me a little bit worried is this bracket right here. It's made out of aluminum, and Audi will not sell it to me because I'm not an Audi certified shop. So I talked with the guy who's gonna be doing the framework, and he said that most likely we're just gonna have to fabricate our own bracket. The other obvious damage is that the airbag is blown. On Audis, typically when the airbag deploys, there's a pyro fuse that cuts the power to the entire car so that nothing else electronically happens. The weird part is that when I bought this car, it started right up and drove with no problem, which that's not supposed to happen. So I have a theory. My guess is that the insurance company tore into the car, because this was like this when I bought it. They tore into the car. This is the location of the pyro fuse, bypassed the pyro fuse, or maybe they even fixed it for me. I don't know, I haven't looked yet. And that's what made the car running and driving. So one less thing for us to fix. The fact that this car has no parts on it is also weird, because most times when you buy an insurance car, the insurance company will keep the parts on it. This car has nothing, which sucks because the panel on this door is about 4 grand from the dealer. You have to order it from Germany and they're back ordered, so I'm not getting one. But I was able to find a piece of paper in the car that gave me the whole backstory of this car. This car was completely cleaned out before it came in, but this one piece of paper was missed by whoever detailed this car. And it has the information of the towing company that towed this car. So I called up the towing yard and I asked, hey, do you guys have the parts for this car? And they said, no, the auction came and picked all the parts up. After doing some research, I went online, found the previous owner's information, reached out to him. He called another body shop asking them if they have the parts. And they said the same thing, that the wrecking yard came and picked them up. The weird thing is that the wrecking yard never does that. I have a suspicion that the body shop took the parts off and sold them. One rear bumper for this car is 4 grand. 4 grand for a rear bumper? That's unreal. So if they did that, I don't blame them. I'm not saying they did, but it's just a theory. The previous owner was nice enough to share with me some other very important information on the car. This car comes with an APR Stage 1 tune, pushing this car over 620 horsepower. 620 horsepower on an all-wheel drive car? This is gonna be insane. The previous owner also put on this Fab Speed Valvetronic titanium exhaust that costs over $4,000 and sounds like this. I love little surprises like this when you're buying cars on the auction. You have no expectation, but then you are just delighted to find such a nice, expensive exhaust. Hey, I can't complain. Look at these beefy boys. Definitely gonna need to get a new set of tires. They are all shot. The previous owner loved to do all-wheel drive donuts on dry pavement and didn't leave much tire tread for me to work with. So I went to Discount Tire. It's about 2 grand for a new set, which honestly isn't too bad. So we're gonna need to do that later. If you guys haven't noticed yet, this car is absolutely filthy. Salt all over the car, and that's because I had to drive to New York to go pick this car up, and while we were towing it back, it began to snow. The car is super dirty, but there is another benefit. This car has a full PPF that the previous owner did. So all of this paint is protected and there's no scratches on it. For the past couple of weeks, I've been looking for parts for this car, and I was surprised to see how little secondhand parts there are out there. For every part that I've looked for, there's maybe 1 or 2 buying options that you can choose from. And because of that, every single part on this car is like $1,000. Supply and demand, I guess. If you stuck around to the end of this video and want to see the R8 back on the road, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you guys for all your love and support. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.